Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the new moon reading. This is Vickieverlie, the rock and roll prophetess, and we're going to talk about the new moon that is occurring on March 24th, 5:28 Eastern time, but times are going to vary. Now, I don't want to make this all about the coronavirus because I definitely don't want to add to stress, and there's so many different things going on. Everybody's fighting on social media, and I'm not going to say anything about it. The only thing I'm going to say about it is I don't want to start a fight in the comments or make that about this. Let this be your little escape from it. Although I really don't even know what comes through, so it may come in, it may not. But I'm not going to gear it towards that. Okay, I did do a video because I've been doing some conscious channeling, and it was down at the lake working on it for this book that I'm doing, and some stuff did come through. And it's all about how it's a purging of a fear. I mean, this is on a higher level. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot. It's complicated, but it was saying that from a higher level that it's a purging of the fear. And I was reminded, too, of what my guide said early on in this year, that 2020 was going to be the year of the Great Awakening. So are you awake yet? All right, so this is my astrology readings. I do understand astrology, but I don't play it by the book. It's just kind of what comes out. And it's kind of like we're hanging out. We're going to have an astrology hang here and talk about what's happening. So if you're real rigid by the book on astrology, maybe this isn't for you. And then secondly, if you're like, oh, astrology, this is just too complicated, I don't understand it, hang in there because it does get more and more psychic as we go along. Okay? So it's a new moon in Aries, and it's conjunct Chiron, interestingly enough. I didn't even look at the chart. I just opened it. I'm actually still offering those ingress readings, and this isn't very far off of the ingress reading. I'm recording this on the 18th, and the ingress will be tomorrow, the Aries ingress. So I'm offering that reading, and this chart is not much. It's got some similarities, because I've been looking at that chart a lot doing these readings. And that'll be available today on the March if you're interested. But, this Sun conjunct Chiron thing, oops, that's one of the big things that's happening in that ingress reading. And the whole thing is squaring the nodes. I wish that would stop doing that. I need to turn the, I know what I have to do. Yeah, the whole thing is squaring the nodes here. So it's interesting. And at the time of this, we've also got this Moon, Sun, Chiron, and Lilith, all in a big stellium here, all in Aries. See, Aries energy, Aries is the warrior. Aries is the innovator. It's the warrior. It's like, let's forge ahead. Let's fight. We're going to fight this thing and beat it, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be a disease. But we're going to fight and we're going to beat it. And, we're going to, just go, do. So Aries is the warrior energy, and it's squaring with the nodes. And the nodes are in the South Node in Capricorn, representing the past, and the North Node in Cancer, representing the future, or where we're heading. We could break it down to say the South Node could be, in capitalism. I know it's much more than that. Saturn in Capricorn is much more than that. But it could be capitalism versus nurture, caring for people, And I think this is a dichotomy that we are definitely facing at this time. The North Node is always the direction that we want to go in, okay? And in this case, the North Node is in Cancer. The healer, the mother, the nurturer, taking care of people, making sure people are okay and safe, and healing. Squaring with Chiron, it's a healing. The Chiron, these come around every 18 years or so, and, these different things. But the Chiron's a 50-year cycle. So, most people may not even live for 2 Chiron transits through. If you're over, I guess there's variables in that. I guess you could have it when you're young and then have it when you're older too, see a Chiron transit, but depending on when you were born. But the point is, this is something that comes around every once in a while. And I was just trying to think what would be 50 years ago. I didn't even think about looking at the last transit of Chiron. And it, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm guessing 50 years. I'm guessing it's, so that would be, what, in the 70s, like 1970? I wish I should have looked up the exact thing, but maybe this would be something we could look at, and maybe I'll even think about it and do another video, or we could talk about that in the comments. Like, what was going on? Was there some kind of big, I'm not thinking of anything right off the top of my head. Was there some kind of big thing going on around 1970, or when Chiron was in early Aries, you know, before? But the point is, this isn't something that happens all the time. So it's healing. The Chiron wants to heal something. And Chiron is deep healing. When I do those soul readings, those past life readings, I look at your Chiron. You know, and Chiron is, in a birth chart, to me, is when you keep wounding yourself over and over again, where you're sabotaging yourself. It's karmic. It's throughout this life. It's one of the hardest things you have to conquer, your Chiron in your chart. It's one of the hardest things you have to get over. And it's something that you've carried with you your whole life, and then maybe even into, you know, from other lifetimes as well. So it's some heavy, really heavy, deep energy going on. So this is some heavy, deep energy. Although Aries isn't necessarily heavy and deep. Aries is actually action-oriented. Aries is in the moment now. So the energy of Chiron in Aries is that we want to act on it. We want to act now. We want to be on top of things. We want to get things done. And a lot of things can get done at this time. And not just as far as any disease stuff, just like, you know, people could feel really motivated. But if it's Mars, the ruler of Aries is Mars energy. Okay. It's all the same kind of vibe. And Mars is energy, if not used up, can become really toxic, can turn to anxiety, fear, stress, definitely, because it needs to go, 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 and it doesn't like to be held down or held back. It needs to be expressed. It needs to come out. Like the guide said in that fear video I did, you know, it needs to be purged. It really needs to be purged. And I thought it was funny. Well, I thought of this later in the shower. I thought, well, what's with the toilet paper? Well, after we purge our physical body, we need to wipe, right? So, and I think on some level, people are picking up, you know, that it's a purging. We know this. We know this on a higher level, but we're so caught in this thing. And then we look at Mars, the ruler of this new moon, and where is it at? It's up here, next to Pluto. And Pluto is like the great death and rebirth, destruction, tearing down the walls, tearing down the old ways, and those two together can be really volatile. This comes around once a year or so. Mars-Pluto is a little over a year. We'll see that. It'll catch up. But the Jupiter in here, that's a little bit more of a rare occurrence with these all three together here. Jupiter conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn. You know, Jupiter conjuncts Pluto quite a bit. Judo, like Pluto and Jupiter. Maybe it's a new combination energy term there or something, huh? Because I keep wanting to say it. The judo energy of Jupiter and Pluto hasn't been together in Capricorn. Well, I don't even know if, but last time Pluto was in Capricorn was in the 1700s. So actually during the birth of our country, maybe well, my country, United States, it was there between 1762 and 1777. So that was the whole time when the Revolutionary War, you know, everything was going on. We were starting our country. The United States was starting its country. So there can be, you know, this isn't something that happens all the time. But one of the things, Jupiter's going to amplify it, number one. It's going to amplify this Mars-Pluto energy. And I feel like with Aries, too, because Aries is the individual, it all comes back to the individual and how we're going to deal with it on a personal level. Are we going to let this Mars energy build up, cause pressure, stress until we feel like we're going crazy and going to lose it? Or are we going to use physical energy? I mean, there's all these memes going around joking about, oh, there's going to be a big baby boom 9 months from now. And, well, that's number one, Mars rules sexuality. So I'm not surprised if that's not, you know, it's a joke, but I wouldn't be surprised if that absolutely happened. It'd be interesting to look at the chart from about 9 months from now, or at least look at, like, the aspects, with what all these kids are going to be born with. But that's the number one way to release Mars energy. Mars is sexuality, but Mars is physicality. Mars is, you know, working out, physical, walking. When I feel stress or I feel like a lot of Mars energy, I'm always usually out in the garden, you know. I'm gonna probably do that later. I'm gonna clean out my beds in my spring, try to do some clearing out of my beds and stuff like that, my flower beds and whatnot. do a little spring cleanup. And I also feel like just connecting with that earth really is a good way to like discharge. And I think there's some scientific stuff that goes along with that too. You know, it's good for arthritis and different things. But, you know, that's one of my go-to ways is, you know, because you don't always have somebody, if you're single, you don't always have to. I mean, but whatever. Aries, you know, you can masturbate, whatever. But we're getting a little bit off the topic here. But that's the best way if you feel it getting pent up. But if you can harness this energy for positive, you can move mountains. You really, really can. Aries is driven, ambitious. It's, you know, it's fire. It's like somebody's lighting a fire under your ass. You know, you're getting fired up. People are getting fired up with this Aries energy. And we can use that as a collective to heal long time wounds and societal and personal and karmic and all sorts of things. It's a lot deeper than it may appear on the surface. It's conjunct Lilith at the time of this, what are we doing here? New moon, yeah. It's conjunct Lilith too. Now Lilith is the woman who wouldn't take any shit from anybody. She stood up for herself. She said, no, I don't want to be subservient. I'm not less than you, and I won't be put in that position. I won't be demeaned. I won't be looked down on. I'm here. You know, I am here, and you will see me, and you will hear me. What's that I'm hearing? That you're going to hear me roar. That song came out before, too. I'm the eye of the tiger, and you're going to hear me roar. You know, that's kind of Lilith's anthem, you know. So, people are roaring. We're roaring. It's the Roaring 20s. It was a funny meme going around this morning. It said, yeah, the Roaring 20s, the banks crashed and bars all closed. You know, because of prohibition. I mean, I'm laughing. I feel like we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh. I know I'm not about taking something seriously or not taking something seriously, but laughter is a good medicine. It's good mojo. But anyways, at this 4-degree point also we have Uranus. So there's already Uranus and Taurus. This is a new thing. Uranus hasn't been in Taurus for very long at all. And this is another thing that we haven't dealt with in a real long time. Many people alive today have not experienced Uranus and Taurus. It's been in about a year. It went in, I'm looking here, it went in March of last year. It went into in 2019. And then it stayed in. It's been in there since then. So we've had Uranus has been in Taurus for about a year. And it has not been in Taurus before since 1934 through 1941. So many of us alive today did not experience the last time that Uranus in Taurus. Yeah, it's money and everything, but it's just our overall grounding. Taurus, of all the signs in the zodiac, all the earth signs are really grounded, but I think Taurus is like the most grounded. They're the most grounded, they're the most stable. The Taurus energy is definitely like, you know, the bull. He's got, you know, it's fixed. So it's like, it's really grounded in the earth. And I think this Uranian energy is just kind of ruffling everybody's feathers. We don't feel as grounded as we do. Maybe it's not as easy to ground as it once was. So people are you can get shaken up. You can get it brings this nervous energy. It can bring this nervous energy. Now we're talking about Uranus and Aquarius energy now, different than Mars and Aries energy altogether. If it's like it's a higher echelon. I always say, look at the symbol of Aquarius. Do I have the symbol over here? Yeah. Look at the symbol of Aquarius. I feel like that just says it all. And sometimes it's wavy, you know. It's electric, and things are moving and fluttering, and it can be disturbing, but it can also just be unsettling. It's unsettling, you know. So it's unsettling our grounded way of being and our grounded stance. And this Uranus is also interacting with the nodes. It's trining the south node, and it's sextiling the north node. So I feel like the answer lies within the nodes. The answer lies within the nodes at all times, probably, right? The north node is always the way we want to go in our personal birth chart, and that's one of the things I'll look at in those, past life readings. And then the south node is where we've been. But as a society, You know, we want to go towards this. We want to, you know, the Capricorn, Saturn, Capricorn energy, and Saturn has moved into Aquarius too, so that's unsettling too. That's also, Saturn is an earth sign, and it was in its home sign of Capricorn. It's going to go back there, but it's moved into Aquarius, and that's unsettling too, you know, because Saturn is a Capricorn, so earthy and grounded also, and, you know, it's moved into this weird, it's weird for Saturn to be in there. It's unsettling. You know, there's an unsettling vibration going on. So we could go to our past, and the bad, I mean, I'm a Capricorn sun, so don't, if you're Capricorn, I'm not getting down on you or saying anything bad. There's always a positive and negative to each sign of the zodiac and each planetary, you know, energetic expression, okay? However, the downside of the Capricorn can be a little cold, like, oh, you feel unsettled? Suck it up. Suck it up, buttercup. You know, deal with it. When I was a child, I walked 10 miles to school, and I didn't complain. You know, that's the downside of this Capricorn energy, being real stern and cold and like, you know, buck up, get back on that horse, to stop complaining, you know, not having any empathy, being kind of on the cold side, where, you know, the Cancer energy is just the opposite of that, and that's the direction we're meant to go in. That's complete, you know, unconditional love, mothering, acceptance, peace. I know you're scared. Let me cuddle with you. Let me get you a glass of milk and we'll read a story. Or, you know, taking care of that scared child. And the Aries energy is like a child. You know, it's childlike. For the most part, in the best way. You know, it's the zero. It's the, you know, and we're going through this ingress just a few days before that. Well, actually, tomorrow as I'm recording it. So. No matter if you live in the southern or northern hemisphere, it's spring in the northern hemisphere, but even if you're in the southern hemisphere, this is a point of new beginning for us all. So we're turning over a new leaf, we're turning out a new beginning. There's a lot of unsettling energy. Jupiter can also expand this beyond what maybe it needs to be. But I know that we're erring to the side of caution, and that's where I'm on board with the plan, but Jupiter can also expand this energy to be more than it needs to be. Just like we say, there's a positive and a negative. Hopefully the positive side of it that would be the negative. Hopefully the positive side would be that we learn something out of it. We gain something out of it. We get a higher perspective. It's a blessing. Jupiter's always a blessing. It always brings a blessing. It always benefits us. Sometimes, many times, from a higher perspective that we don't really understand. If we're down here, and if we're down in Mars energy and fighting, I'm going to go fight you for your toilet paper or whatever the hell people are doing, then we're not going to get this, okay? So if you want to get this, there's ways to go about it. Be aware. Aries is the body. It's the physical self. Be aware of your own physical body. If you're feeling really stressed, if you're having anxiety, if you're, you know, snapping at people, going off, aggravated, direct that energy somewhere positive. Clean your house. Go work in the yard. Go get laid. Whatever you gotta do, you know. But discharge it. Discharge that energy so that you can think clearly and see things clearly. And use it in a very, you know, a productive way, if at all possible. That would be the thing here. Yeah, the other thing about all this 20-something degree Capricorn stuff here is it's sextile to Neptune, which, yes, I know Neptune is diseases. It is. But Neptune is also like not seeing things clearly. You know, we don't know what the hell's going on. There's all this misconceptions and lies and flying around on the internet, and you know, and I think people are just so stressed from fighting, because Mars is the warrior spirit. Always in those past life readings, like if you have Saturn in Aries, or there's some kind of Mars thing going on in your chart with the South Node, for instance, was one of the things. It will always tell me that you were a warrior in another life. You went to battle, you know. So Mars is about the god of war. We're ready to go to battle. I mean, we're already battling each other so much. It's just over this politics and everything else, and people are so angry and so frustrated. So I actually I put another video too on my other channel. I used the same footage of the lake because I just I wanted to get it out there quick, but it's just like a real nice meditation for, you know, just relaxing and, you know, releasing fear. And it's about 8 minutes long. And it might be, if you're interested, if you're feeling tense and stuff, you could check that out too. Okay, so this is it. It's the new moon in Aries. I mean, it already feels to me like we're in a pressure cooker. So I feel like it's more of discharging this or taking positive action. What can you do to use this energy to do something positive? To actually ask yourself this before I type this thing in, or before I say this thing, or before I go out and do this thing. Is it really doing any good? Is it really helping anybody or anything? Or is it just going to add to the chaos, add to the frustration, you know, add to everything that's going on? We're going to get through this. This is a purging of fear. This is very clear from the guides. We're going to get through this. It's a purging of fear. They also, we could watch the video, it's on my channel, but they also said, you know, don't fight it. Just allow it to pass freely as you can. And you know, I've had a couple bouts of anxiety lately. It's got me, you know. I got a couple times where I got a little bit, after being on Facebook, of course, and I'm just like, I got to turn this off, and then I was getting anxiety. And I just laid on the couch, and instead of trying to fight it, I'd really let this happen. I've never been able to do this before. And I go, okay, I'm going to follow the advice of my guides. This is just anxiety, you know, this is just fear. And I'm just going to let it flow out of me. And it really worked. I was surprised myself, you know, and it passed really quickly. You know, I didn't have to go smoke some weed or take a pill or anything else. You know, I just, I didn't fight it. I laid on the couch and I said, okay, my guides tell me that this is just fear that needs to be purged. And I just kind of relaxed and it was like within, I'd say, you know, 5 minutes. With no drugs or any kind of outside intervention, you know, it passed through and I felt better. So it reminds me of, we're giving birth to something new. Aries is something new, right? So we're giving birth to something new. And if any of you out there ever gave birth to a baby, you know that it's painful and it's scary and it hurts. But then it's part of the birthing process. This is all part of the birthing process. And what the guide said is it was about ascension. And it said, you know, we're ascending and we've got to get rid of this. So, because it's just, and this square to the node, it's stuck in our collective. You know, this is fear that goes back way beyond this political scene or anything else that's been going on here lately in the last few years. This is fear from, you know what it's reminding me of too a lot of the Cold War for some reason. I don't know if there's any astrology to back that up, but it really reminds me of that, and the sirens and everybody getting in their bomb shelters. And I don't know why. I don't know if there's astrology to back that up, but it reminds me of that. I almost feel like, well, that would be in the 1950s, not 50 years ago. Well, if anybody has any astrology comments to, you know, why that might be, you know, please leave it in the comments, please, for everybody. Share it with everybody. But that's what it's reminding me of for some reason. Unless that's just some, you know, past life, a big group incarnation. And maybe that's where, you know, I do feel like people who are really seriously freaking out about this, I do feel like you have lived through like the Black Plague or something like that. And that's why, and that, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't take precautions, but I'm saying that that's where this Chiron, South Node, these are fears that are not just from this lifetime. These are fears that have come through from other lifetimes, big time, you know. And Black Plague just comes to mind. I don't even know, you know, all the history of whatever. But, you know, I feel like where there really was like serious death counts, like, you know, they wiped out Europe and all these things. I feel many people are re-experiencing that and having soul memories of that. And that's why they're getting like really freaked out, you know, really, really scared, because they've seen it, you know, before where everybody was just dying. What I'm seeing right now psychically as I'm being shown, you know, bodies just piled in the streets, and there's smoke coming out. I don't know if they're burning them or if that's just what, but the gases or something, and they seem to be emanating gases or something crazy, you know. So think about that, you know. Aries is all about being here now. And I posted another meme, and it said, you know, right here, right now, everything is cool. I'm safe. You're safe. We're all safe, and it's all good. We're okay. Right in the right here and the right now. That's Aries energy at its finest. Right here, right now. Am I? You know, it's like the Byron Katie work. You know, am I safe? Is it true? Am I safe? You know, pull yourself back, rein yourself back in. Yes, we got to take precautions, but if you start really getting into this, you know, where it's just flipping you out to no end, we're ascending. We are. Saturn's in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus. We're lifting up the Earth energy. The Earth energy is being lifted to another echelon. And if you've not, even I have, you know, I have done my spiritual work, or at least I tried to, you know, and I had anxiety yesterday too. So it's not just, if you're just because you're, I'm a light worker, so I'm not going to get anxiety. I think it might even be more so for many light workers because we pick up on everybody. You know, I think that's exactly what was happening to me. I was just picking up on everybody else's anxiety, and I got a little overwhelmed, you know, I really did. Because my life, I stay home all the time anyway. My life has pretty much not changed much at all. And I'm sure that's true and not just because I do readings at home, but many people work from home in this day and age. Many people work online and remotely, and freelancing and whatever, you know. It's not, but I'll tell you what, the town I live in, it's a huge, and so many of my musician friends too, their gigs are canceled, and so many bars and restaurants. We're big, you know, that's a big part of our economy. There's so many bars and restaurants. We're a big foodie town, and there's a lot of bars and nightclubs, and have big music scene, you know, so that's the livelihood of a lot of people here. So hopefully it's going to pass by soon. I feel like it will. I feel like by the time we get to this, because Jupiter's going to conjunct, I was going to talk about it more in the next one. I looked at the dates and I said, that's more for the next time. But anyways, I did write it down and now I can't find it. But Jupiter's going to conjunct, is it Jupiter-Pluto conjunction? It's going to be exact. I mean, it's an orb now. But I just feel like that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is going to be some kind of okay. If we're not all the way through it, then at least we know where we stand, or we're just going to be in a better place, or we'll see the silver lining or something. And that's occurring on April 4th, I believe. I can't find where I wrote it down, of course. April 4th, it'll be exact, I think. But it's going to be really tight in orb here. It's already in orb, but I mean, it's going to be from the 29th through like the 5th-ish. It'll be at 24 degrees. And I just feel really good about that thing. I feel really good about that happening. Where's Mars going to be? I do have an ephemeris, but I think if we can get Mars out of the way, I think Mars is kind of mucking up everything here a little bit. I just got my ephemeris here, so let me just pull it up and just see. We're in March. Yeah, it's going to be March 29th. I was correct. It goes to 24 degrees. And then by then, Mars is at 29 Capricorns. And then Mars will be in Aquarius by the 4th. Okay. With Saturn. Mars will be with Saturn. Well, it's not a huge improvement, but I think the Pluto-Jupiter in itself is not necessarily the issue. I think the Mars energy, and this is going to be, we're having the ingress tomorrow with Mars energy, Aries energy, which again, I got the readings for those. If you want to get that still, you can order it. And then, you know, this new moon following right behind it, it's really amping up that Mars energy. It's really amping it up. And it amped up, it can be utilized and be good, you know. Get out there, or well, not get out there, but do something productive. Do something productive. Do something to help. Follow that North Node. Help, nurture, feed. Some people aren't going to have food, you know. Bar musician workers, they don't, you know, they're really hurting. So without going, I don't want to all the comments be a big fight about this. So I'm trying to stay out of it, but it's sort of coming through. So This is the chart, Aries energy. If you're feeling tense and use it up, let it pass through you and release. It goes very quickly. If you don't keep fighting, oh my God, I'm losing, because we don't want to lose control. That's another thing. Watch that video. Watch the other video. I don't want to keep going back and trying to paraphrase it. It's only a few minutes long. It's like 3 minutes long, and I read exactly what came through with the guides. So there's that one. Then I also, on my other channel, I have that beautiful, relaxing, I release fear, and I've got some nice music going on behind it. And so do check that one out too. If you want to get a reading for the ingress, that's still going on till the end of this month, and I have other readings too, and I do appreciate your support. I know people are scared. Let's turn this fear turn it around into action and productiveness and innovations. Aries energy is innovation, you know. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I don't want to get too much into my opinions about it because I think, well, I'm picking up stuff psychically, but people don't want to hear it. They're too much in fear right now to hear it. Let's just say I feel like it's going to get better. Let's just say that. There's no reason to go backwards and blame and accuse, and this is what I think really happened, which I do have my own theories, but I don't want to get into it. I don't want to fire people up. I don't want to start a fight, okay? Let's just look at going forward. What can we do going forward? Let's follow that true north. Let's follow that north node into healing and, you know, nurturing healing and healing our own wounds too. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, supporting my channel in all the ways that you do. We're going to get through this. Everything's going to be okay. You'll see. It's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. All right, everybody. Have a great one. Check out my stuff. Thanks for your support. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll speak to you soon.